What is up, YouTube? The boring things will make you rich. I was thinking about this today. I was actually thinking about this the past couple days, and I knew it was something I had to make a video about because it's a life lesson I've learned from coming where I came from, whether that was, really bad drug addiction, in and out of jail, being a degenerate, or not having any money, living at my mom's house, being 24, just got out of jail, and to where I'm at now. And this is a life lesson that I was only able to learn over time, like over years. And Alex Hormozy talks about this a lot, about how rich people are just rich because they do the boring things that nobody are willing to do. They sacrifice the things that are, interesting and pleasurable temporarily, but they're not willing to do the boring things that nobody else wants to do for a long enough period of time to where you see results. So I want to talk about this because it's been on my mind, and this is coming straight from the heart. This is not scripted. I'm just speaking from experience, what I see in my students who ended up quitting, and what I also see in the students that succeeded. Okay, so the boring things will make you rich. What do I mean by that? Well, first I could give you a few examples. When I was out in Houston and I was trying to get my business off the ground, I was hustling, I was doing the sales process and everything that I teach my students now, right? I was perfecting it myself, and the biggest deal that I got, while I was in Houston, besides the $100,000 deal, was the $14,000 deal. That was the first time I made a five-figure deal. And that same day I met Eric Thomas. I met him at the mall, random, and I took a video with him, took a picture with him, and that was like the one person I've looked up to for years and years and years and years. Okay, and how did I get there? From somebody on the outside looking in, it might seem like that's random, just coincidence that I just ran into Eric Thomas the same time that I closed a $14,000 deal. But if you go back to my other video about never take a day off or you'll miss the opportunity, it was just me getting a lucky day. And I've realized that with all of the biggest accomplishments in my life, really, in my entire life, it all just came down to the boring thing that I had no idea what the major consequences of it was going to be, right? So let's go back to that example of that 14K deal in Eric Thomas. I closed that deal. Well, I first found that deal, right? I'm doing the Zillow sales process and everything that I teach my mentees. I'm doing it every single day. It had been about 4 or 5 months of doing this consistently, waking up monk mode, 3 a.m., studying, calling as many people as possible every single day. And around the fourth or fifth month, I remember the day I called that lead. It was a lead that was on Zillow, okay? And it was 6 in the afternoon, and part of me wanted to just okay, it's 6 in the afternoon, okay, you did enough, da. But I had put a standard within myself, I had a resolve within myself, I cannot go to sleep, I cannot take a break until I hit my KPIs, until I do the minimum requirement. Okay, so I had one last call to make for the day. I seen this house on Zillow, didn't have any pictures up. It was in a completely rural area. Actually ended up doing the research later on. The population of that city was only 900 and something. And but I called it because I set a standard for myself that I'm gonna hit these KPIs every single day, no matter what. It's either I do it or I die. And I didn't want to die, so I was gonna do what I said the standard was, the minimum was to have 20 conversations and 3 offers. So this was the last conversation and offer of the day. So I called them, already tired, I'm already exhausted. I worked the whole day. This is the last call I have to make. And she answered the phone. I remember her name was Kim. I remember this entire phone call. But even though it was the last phone call, and I was exhausted. It's like 6, 7 at night. You know, I'm hoping that it's just somebody that cursed me out so I can get off the phone and just say, okay, I hit my KPIs. But no, she was a nice lady. And on that phone call, the last phone call, I had no idea it was going to be a deal. I treated it like it was the first phone call. I treated it like I treated every phone call, and I gave it my all. And I went through the entire Zillow script that I give out for free, and I built rapport with her. I got the 4 pillars. I related to her. I got her to like me, trust me, know me, and want to do business with me. And I ended up locking it up at a price that, again, this is in a completely rural area. I had no idea like if it was going to be a deal or not, but I went through my process and I got it under contract for a price that I knew it at least had to be a deal. Like, it was a horrible house, like, but it was brick with a slab foundation, and it needed to be completely gutted, but I got it for at least what I thought was the right price, which was, I think I got it locked up for like $13,000 or $15,000, right? It's a 3-2 brick house, slab foundation. I don't care what condition it's in, as long as it's not collapsing on itself and falling down. $13,000 to $15,000, that's a deal. Anyway, so I got it locked up. It was a 1-call close, guys. I trusted my process. I went through the process. It was just another day of me going through the motions of me doing the minimum standard, and I posted it on Facebook, and I found a buyer the next day. He went to look at it that day, and then we signed the assignment of contract that night. And the assignment of contract was for $17,000. And it was easy, it was smooth. And I ended up giving $3,000 to the seller because she had cancer and she had this other thing going on or whatever. So I did what my heart felt right, and I gave her $3,000 out of my $17,000 assignment fee, so I made $14,000. The point is, guys, it was just another day. I had no idea I was gonna make $14,000 on that deal. But I learned from the very beginning to fall in love with the process, because if you fall in love with the process, and if you fall in love with doing the work and completely detach from the outcomes, the outcome will come regardless, but only if you do the work. Okay? So if you do the work for the outcome, you're only gonna do the work, and let's say you do get the outcome. Now you're going to be complacent. You're not going to want to do the work anymore because you got what you wanted, which was the outcome. Or let's say you do the process just to get the outcome and you never get the outcome. You're going to quit. Okay? The key to success is falling in love with the process, falling in love with the work, falling in love with business, falling in love with the act of working, the act of doing what you have to do, and forget about the outcome, because it will come. You understand? If you focus on building the skill will come with all of the benefits that the skill has. So that's one example. Another example, the $100,000 deal. It was just another day. It was just another day of me calling the leads. It was a lead that came in, I called it, went through the script that I had, and I got it locked up. I didn't know if it was a deal or not. I didn't even know the neighborhood it was in. Guys, this $100,000 deal that I got, I made $100,000 in one day from doing the normal process that I give out to all my students. The thing is, I just fell in love with the process, and I changed my identity to where being boring was my identity. You know what I mean? Falling in love with work was my identity. I was able to change my identity over time to where I got satisfaction and pleasure and felt proud of myself and satisfied in life because I was working so hard, right? I wasn't working so hard just to get an outcome. Obviously, I wanted the outcome, but I detached from it. And so when you detach from it, you're able to go harder in the process when you're working in the middle of the process, right? Same thing with all my students. You know, when I tell them to lock up a contract, they try and ask me, Isaiah, what should I offer on this? You already know what to offer on it. I tell you what to offer on it. You know, students, on average, a common trait of the students that quit is in the beginning, which is normal to have these questions, but I try to get it out of their system as soon as possible. They come to me and they say, is this a deal? Isaiah, what should I offer on this? Isaiah, what should I do with this? Isaiah, da 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 da. I'm like, bro, it doesn't matter if it's a deal. The point is you're learning the process. You're getting comfortable with the process. You're getting comfortable with having 20 conversations and 3 offers a day and having 1 contract a week minimum. Get comfortable with doing that. Get used to doing that to where you become more resilient and you get more used to doing the work, and it becomes easy and it's easier to gain momentum. Okay? So I gave you those 2 examples. But the main thing I want you guys to get is, if you expect the outcome, as soon as you start doing the work, you will either quit or fail very quickly. You have to change your identity and a part of your personality that, I'm not saying you have to be a homebody or you have to be in monk mode 24/7, but a part of you has to love working. Part of you has to find work as fun, and it becomes like it's not a chore anymore. I know in the beginning when you're trying to build that personality trait and build that habit, yes, it could be hard in the beginning. I talk about this a lot in my videos. But the people who get rich are the people who work not to show off or flex, but they work because it's their hobby. It's what they love to do. Business owners aren't obsessed with just being rich. They're obsessed with business. They're obsessed with the sport, the idea of business. It's their sport. NFL players don't join the NFL because they just want to make money. They know that they're going to make money, but that's not why they join the NFL. They join the NFL because they've been playing football since they were a toddler and they love the sport of football. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have to love the process. You have to love what you do. Going back to being boring, right? Because that's the main topic of this video, being boring. You have to go through a season of change, which requires monk mode. There is a season of monk mode where you sacrifice the things that you want to do. You sacrifice hanging out with your friends on the weekend. You sacrifice, chasing girls, or whatever it is that you have to sacrifice to get the one thing that's most important to you. Okay? Because the one thing that's most important to you is probably important to you because you know that not that many people can acquire it. And why can not that many people acquire it? Because they're not willing to sit and do the boring work for days, months, years. There's a quote that goes, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. Okay? So I just want you guys to take that life lesson that I've learned over these years of, self-improvement and growing. Starting the Discord was never like about growing a coaching business. Yes, I was like partly there, but like it was because I wanted to help people. It never seemed like a chore to me to answer the phone every time my students call so I could answer their questions and guide them through whatever obstacles they're going through right now. It was something that I wanted to do, something that I love to do, something that I found purpose in, because I know what it's like to be a beginner wholesaler. I know what it's like trying to escape the matrix and make your first $10,000. I know what that's like, and that's why I started the Discord, but now it's getting to a point to where, okay, I got to raise the standards for myself, I help everybody. I give free advice. Everything that I say and could possibly teach in the Discord or whatever, I give for free on YouTube. I give as much free content as I possibly can on YouTube. And guess what? Making this video isn't a chore. It's something that I want to do, something that I fell in love with. I knew I wanted to. There's a foundation of what I want to accomplish in life. And part of that is leading others and motivating others to overcome the same things that I overcame. So yeah, my target audience is beginner wholesalers, but not just beginner wholesalers, people who come from a shitty background, like I came from a shitty background. And I want to guide them and help them to overcome that. It's not a chore. Do you understand what I'm saying? before I tried wholesaling real estate, I tried drop shipping. And drop shipping is very lucrative and you can make a lot of money, and it probably is way easier than wholesaling real estate. But why didn't I go through with it? Not because I'm a quitter, but because I knew deep down in my soul it wasn't a part of my purpose. It wasn't a part of my life plan. It wasn't what I felt like I was called to do, like what I was born to do. And I'm not saying wholesaling real estate is what I was born to do, but the moment I realized that wholesaling real estate is what I wanted to do is when I got on the phone with my first seller from Zillow. Somebody, I paid somebody to teach me. He was a scammer, by the way, but that's besides the point. He taught me the concept of the business model of wholesale real estate. And I was like, okay, well, I want to try I'm an entrepreneur. This is after I made the commitment to be an entrepreneur. So I'm going to do something to make money, right? And I was trying drop shipping and I had a little bit of success, but I didn't do it because I knew it just wasn't for me. The second that I knew that wholesaling was for me is when I got on the phone with the seller. It was a nice old lady and she needed help selling her house. And it was my job to help her. And it also clicked that this is sales. This is over the phone communicating with my voice sales, which also aligned with one of my natural abilities. I can naturally articulate my words clearly and precise. I don't have too much of a country accent or anything, and I know how to articulate things in an intelligent way and in a way that most people can understand. So it just clicked. It's not that I knew I wanted to do wholesaling, it's that I knew I wanted to do sales. Because, bro, there's something in you that lets you know what you're meant to do in life. And I knew from the very beginning, before I even quit drugs, before, I got out of jail, I knew, and I'm not gonna digress too much, but there have been miracles that have happened in my life, or, people were sent by God in my life and they told me, hey, you're gonna speak to millions of people, millions of young people, and God's gonna use you to speak to his people. And I didn't know what that meant at the time. I'm on drugs. I just cut the tip of my fingers off. I'm down bad, but that's happened to me multiple times throughout my life. People randomly have stopped me who have never met me before. They don't know my name. They don't know who I am. They stopped me and they said, hey, I need to tell you something. The Holy Spirit's speaking to me right now. They don't know that. They didn't know me. They didn't know that I believed in God. They didn't know anything. And that just so happened to, happen to me. So sometimes you could tell, or God will speak to you in certain ways. It doesn't have to be that way, however God speaks to you. But it's I knew I was meant to speak to people. And so when I got on the phone with my first cold call on Zillow, it all clicked. Sales is what I need, because sales will help me learn how to sell and articulate words better and persuade better and convince better and be a leader better. Along the way, I found out I have to be a leader if I want to build a business or build a team, or if I want to lead a generation, or whatever the case is. So I digressed a lot into how I found out that wholesaling was it was the vehicle that I was supposed to take. It was the path that I was supposed to take that aligned with my purpose. And the more I put in action, the only reason I was able to find that out is because I was working every single day. I didn't even know what I had to do. I just knew I had to hustle. So I was working. I was doing something every day. I had already quit my job at this point. And I just knew that raw action was the answer to everything. If you don't know what you want to do in life right now, or if you don't know the full purpose of what you're meant to do in life, just start taking raw action. You don't know if it's right yet, but just do something. Do push-ups. Go to the gym. Go start meeting people. Go try different things. Try different entrepreneurial ventures, and somewhere along the way of you taking consistent action every single day, the stuff that nobody else is willing to do because they're distracted or lazy or they're a slave to their vices or whatever. And I'm not saying that disqualifies you. Remember, I came from drug addiction and everything and vices and all this other stuff, but because I was willing to fight, be boring, and do consistent action every single day, despite how I felt, it got me to where I am today. Always follow that inclination and always take raw action, okay? So if you don't know what you want to do in this life, or if you don't know what your purpose is in this life, or if you do know what it is, or maybe you want to try wholesaling, you're a beginner wholesaler, but you just can't seem to get a deal. I promise you, if you try hard every single day, if you get a mentor, you could shortcut it. But let's say you don't have a mentor and you don't have any money. Anybody could make anything happen, because we all have a God-given natural ability within us to create a reality that we want. It's not right or wrong, it's just our natural God-given ability to create a reality that we want to live. And how do you do that? How do you create that reality? You identify it. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill talks about this. You have to have a desire, you have to have clarity, okay? And you have to work towards it every single day consistently. And then at some point you have to detach from the results. That's the 4 steps and the 4 ingredients to make anything happen in life. You have to find out what you want to do. If you don't know what you want to do, keep taking raw, consistent action until you find out, okay, that's what I want to do. Then the desire will be there. Do the boring stuff every single day and detach from the outcome. Fall in love with the process. Fall in love with something you want to do. I fell in love with wholesale real estate because I fell in love with sales. I fell in love with speaking and talking. That's why I'm making, this long video, because it's what I find purpose in, and I know that it'll help somebody out there. But if you're struggling to get your first wholesale deal, you're struggling to make your first 10K a month, or you're struggling to break out of that rat race, you're scared, you don't know what to do if you leave your 9 to 5, and to be honest, I'm not gonna go down a rabbit hole of like my conspiracy beliefs, but I'm sure we all know by now, it's put there to make you a slave. That 9 to 5, the Monday through Friday work week, the weekend, the holidays, the days off, the TikTok, the distraction, the phones, the entertainment, the porn, the drugs that are so easily accessible, all the things that they're promoting to not only kids, but to you as adults as well. There's a reason for that, okay? And it's on you to overcome it and be able to do the boring work every single day. Sacrifice temporary desires, interest, having fun, friends, and it's only for a season. Let me tell you, monk mode, like the die hard, go hard monk mode, to where you have to cut everything off and go to war with yourself and really truly have that battle with yourself to fight your temptations and cut everything off, that is only for a season, until finally after that season, usually it takes for most people 6 months to a year to change your life forever. But once you go through that transition and your identity is changed forever, you're not tempted by the same things anymore, right? Or it's not a chore to work hard anymore. It's just something you do, okay? So that's the main point of this video. Do the boring work. The boring work, again, all of the most spectacular things that have happened to me in my life this year, from August last year to August this year, this has been the craziest year of my life, the most growth ever. From meeting Eric Thomas, to moving out for the first time, to moving to a new state, to making $100,000, to moving to another city, to buying my first apartment, to buying my dream car, to buying all this luxurious stuff and just doing whatever I want, being able to have the freedom to do whatever I want and work whenever I want. Again, I'm still a hard worker because that's who I am, but I have this freedom now, and I'm not held down by societal norms or whatever. I could be me, and I could be me to the fullest extent, and I don't care about what other people think. I'm not worried about getting fired. I'm not worried about any of that. I'm able to be me, and I'm able to monetize me. So that's the gist of the video, guys. Do the boring work. Again, do the boring work. Sacrifice the temporary temptation, the instant gratification, all these things that are programmed to make you a slave. This is how you escape being a slave. You get used to doing the boring work, change your identity, go through monk mode for a season, and I promise you, you can make anything happen. I guarantee it. Because if I could do it, anybody could do it. And if nobody told you, I believe in you. I love you as a brother, okay? If you want to become a student of mine and you want to work with me and you want to get a wholesale deal in 90 days or less, I guarantee I could get you that, okay? I speak with conviction because I did it and I've helped multiple other people do it. If you know anything about me and you watch my YouTube, you know the deal. I ain't gotta sell or whatever. But if you want to be my student, DM me on Instagram. My details are gonna be in the description. If you want my free wholesaling Zillow script or my wholesaling contracts, just DM me on Instagram or email me. All that information is gonna be down in the description below. Make sure to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe because I'm dropping weekly videos about wholesaling, real estate, self-improvement, and just life in general. Stay motivated, you guys.